stuff last time. We're live. Okay. Let me go downstairs and see what I can.
Never.
You want to get a
You go down by yourself now.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Be testing on this side, it's too bad. Okay, we're talking test one, two, 1, 2, 3.
Okay. You don't even know to get dressed.
One more time, test 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. We can play with it later, I suppose.
And now we get it, yeah.
Move on to Mr. Carter. They were like that with pretty good to, Nosm. A couple of years back, and he said, let me know when you guys land. And I got nothing, and I'm like, okay, is he there? Did the plane crash? I mean, what am I looking for?
We go rock and roll. Testing 1, 2, 1. Hello. Put it down. Try that. That's a little bit better. That's good. Oh, hello.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
You reminded. Yeah. You reminded.
Mr. Squelch, right? In his car, because he was going like 50 miles an hour and 30. That's expensive.
Try that one. Test 1, 2. Gargle.
We know the police chief, he knows the police chief.
I'm sure he was. I'm sure he was. He was.
That's good one.
He was like,
I tried to like hold back the water.
Test 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1.
see, and I'm
I've yelled at them before.
1, 1, test 1, 2.
Why are you being pulled over? I was not speeding. And the police officer comes up to the window and says, sir, it would be better if you start arguing with me when I get to the car, not before.
Exactly.
I didn't even get a ticket that.
Want to move the car?
Yeah.
And his words were just on continuous. He made no indication. He was out in traffic, almost hit me. I had to move to avoid him. He pulled me over and gave me a ticket for reckless endangerment.
Well, it's one serious.
No reciprocity. So you can ask me what was the only time in my entire life he saw me speechless. That was. And what are you going to do? Right? There's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Hey, but you're going to Denmark.
Thursday.
I would have to say that I was only did it once.
I got pulled over. I had bought a new car, and the old car, you get your registration.
Yeah.
And I just bought a new car, and I became trained that I'm just gonna buy it, and get later for you, all that.
Yeah, there's so many others.
That just doesn't seem to happen.
Yeah.
I'm not, and of course, I'm not forgetting what it is. I see it.
Oh,
Yep. Well, he wanted to go to, Paul Smith's college in Anne Arundel. But it's a private school, and we had the rope. That's what, so I heard it broke down yesterday, all of a sudden now he's talking about community college instead. So it's making this a good thing.
They are. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Want to send it?
Yes, I think
How good is your thing? And they said, destroy that. Something so I can. Yeah, I forgot what it was.
We're going to try to get started in a few minutes. Test. All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Paula Wimet. I'm the editor of the Where's News. I would first of all like to thank all the citizens of Hardwick who have put so much time and effort into organizing this candidates forum so that all of the voters have a chance to hear from the different candidates and learn a little bit about who they are and what they stand for, and also what positions they are running for. I have been a Hardwick resident since 2008, so this town is very near and dear to my heart. I live in Gilbertville. So to start off, we are actually going to have those running uncontested come up first and introduce themselves and then give a brief outline of what their office does, what their position is. So anyone that is running for assessor, constable, Quad Regional School Committee, Board of Health, Page Memorial Library Trustee for the 3-year term, or the Page Agricultural Land Fund, if they don't mind me, I can talk. You're welcome to come up here. There is a microphone in front of this podium, so you can either come up on stage and stand at the podium, or you can stand on the floor and speak. So we will start in the order that I listed. So do we have Lucinda Childs running for assessor here this evening? And if not, that's okay. Any of the constables, would you like to speak? Eric Boheim, Ryan Lucas, and Tina Lindsay Dees. No pressure.
Thank you, Paula and the Wherever News for putting this on for everybody. For those of you who don't know me, and I think I know just about everyone, my name is Ryan Whitkos. I live at 265 Lower Road. I'm right across from the Hardwick Crossing. I've lived in town my whole life. I've been an employee of the town of Hardwick for almost 40 years. I started on the fire department for 5 years. I was an EMT for the Hardwick Rescue Squad. It's now defunct. I was on the board of directors. I was a selectman from 1992 to 1997, and I was first elected moderator in 1998. And I feel very blessed that you all have wanted me to continue in that role. Been town clerk since 2020. I'm a certified Massachusetts municipal clerk, which is just a fancy designation, meaning I know stuff about elections, but I don't know everything. I make mistakes, and that's going to happen. As far as constable, the office that's there, there's 3 members there that are constables. It's not a board. Constables are the precursor to law enforcement. They were charged with keeping the peace. If there were riots, they would enlist the support of the sheriffs when we actually had county government way back in the day. And they're charged with posting all of the election warrants to warn the inhabitants to gather the qualified vote in town fairs, et cetera, et cetera. Now, that's really all it boils down to is just the serving of warrants, some civil process, some notice to quits, with the Post Act, with the revamp of the police departments in Massachusetts. A lot of the powers that the constables used to have under the general laws are pretty much wiped out. So I just did it because there was an opening and I figured it would be easier for me to post the warrants and do all the things. I just like to make sure things are done by the book. And so I would ask for your vote, and I thank you very much for your time, and I'm glad that you all came out this evening, and I wish all the candidates the best of luck.
All right, we'll work our way down that list. Is Tina Lindsay Keys here? All right, moving on to Quabbin Regional School Committee, 3-year term, Jennifer Garvey. Quabbin Regional School Committee, 2-year term, Crystal Kelly. I don't think that's Crystal. Board of Health, Richard Romano. Page Memorial Library Trustee, 3-year term, Stacy Hill.
Hi, I'm Stacy Hill. I've lived in Hardwick about 6 years. I've been on the trustee board for 1.5 years. I'm running for the 3-year term. Trustees are the custodians of the library. We work really closely with the library director to make decisions that ensure that the library is running smoothly and is really serving as a resource for everybody in the town. And I would just say more than anything, please come visit the library. We have so many great programs. We have so many great books and materials for you to use. And it'd be great if we had a lot of folks showing up to make use of all those services. Thank you. I've never done karaoke.
And Laura. Come on up. I was going to try to pronounce your last name. But...
Just like it's written.
Oh,
Brother.
Brunner. All right, I would have mispronounced it.
Everyone does. Okay, hello. My name is Laura Grunberg, and I am a recovering library director. I moved up here from New York on New Year's Eve 2023, and I woke up a year later in Hardwick, Massachusetts. So I am running for the uncontested 3-year term for the library board. I have close to 20 years of experience as a trustee for a film festival and working with a board as a library director. I was a professor of contemporary arts and media studies. I have been a graphic designer for over 50 years. As soon as I got to Hardwick, I made a beeline for the library, and I joined the Friends group right away. I was immediately tasked with helping them obtain a nonprofit status for the state of Massachusetts, which we successfully accomplished after 6 months of hard work. I have tried to convince the Page Library Director, Julie Bullock, not to regard me as a mentor because I have some extreme, possibly subversive notions of library customer service. I would love to see the library become more accessible, increase its hours, staffing, and even expand its facility if that's possible. I will be giving a program here in the townhouse on May 3rd. That's a Saturday at 2 p.m.
The program is entitled The Art and Science of How to Give a Presentation, and I am workshopping it for the, presenting it at the Massachusetts Library Association annual conference in May. So I would like, if you want to come out and help me polish my performance and watch a half-assed presentation, that would be great. I want to point out that when I was a library director, I hired Barry Koch, who was sitting here. He's run for a contested one-year term, and I convinced him to move here to Hardwick and rent an apartment in my house. And we have the same kind of crazy notion about customer service. I will give you an example. We were driving out of town one day and we dropped off at a lab urine sample for a library patron. So I would like to leave you with that image. I am delighted to be here and honored to live in the home that belonged to Kay and Donald Boothman. Please do not bring your urine samples to my home. Thank you.
All right, last up for uncontested is Nathan Goddard. Can't escape it.
Good evening. My name is Nate Goddard. I'm running for the page
in West Hardwick, the only part of Hardwick. I was born and raised in West Hardwick. My father was one of the first police officers in this town. He was one of the first ambulance drivers in this town. My mother was one of the main people that used to run 4-H in this town. We grew up with the Hardwick Community Fair. I was a 4-H kid from way back. We all did our transgressions. We left after high school and then we came back. So I was born and raised in this town. I remember this town when it still had 2,100 people, but it was a lot busier than it was today. I'm running for the planning board for numerous reasons. I have kind of sort of some concerns about what's going on in the planning board. I got very concerned when the planning board stood up and said they want to have a special town meeting to change the zoning and the zoning regulations, and they wanted to do it on a special town meeting because nobody shows up to special town meetings. I didn't feel that that was correct. I felt that people should show up for changing of the zoning regulations. People should be aware of all the changes in the zoning regulations. And people should read all of the changes in the zoning regulations because there are things in there that people should be made aware of. Not all changes to zoning regulations should just be cut and paste off of either the state regulations or another town's regulations. They should be tailored just to what is important in Hardwick. And because of that, we should everybody in this town should show up, everybody in this town should make their opinions made very clear and see whether or not it is appropriate for the town of Hardwick, not just to cut and paste. And because of that, people need to be made aware of what the planning board actually does. The planning board should not be involved in whether or not a business applying for a special permit is going to bring jobs into town. That is not what the planning board does. The planning board is a body that is supposed to look at a special permit to see whether or not it is going to impact the town, the neighborhood, and the way of life in that area. It does not sit in judgment on whether or not that business will be bringing in jobs to town or impacting agritourism. It should be sitting in judgment of whether or not that business and how that business is set up is going to impact whether or not, in the event of a fire trucks can come in, or police can come in, or an ambulance can come in, and whether or not it's going to impact whether or not, in the event of a massive fire, the neighborhood is going to burn down, or the neighbor's house is going to burn down. That is what the planning board should be sitting in judgment of. And that is what the planning board needs to do. And I'm finding that sometimes the questions the planning board is asking are not those questions. That is why I'm running for the planning board, okay? Because we need to be asking hard questions, whether or not they're popular or not. Sometimes hard questions are not popular. That being as it may, it has nothing to do with whether or not somebody likes somebody or not. Everybody should get along and everybody should love their neighbors, but we also need to understand that sometimes we have to look out for our neighbors also. So thank you very much, and I would appreciate a vote, and thank you for being here.
All right, speaking of hard questions, I have a question for the planning board candidates. So John, Liz, if you would like to come up. Once you're up here by microphone, I can ask the question, and John will have you go first. So venture up here. You ready? All right. What are some of the ways the town can encourage economic growth while still maintaining its agricultural heritage?
Okay, well, I look at the town as a business. The town is a business. We have employees, we have insurance, we have payroll, we have equipment, we have properties. So it's very important. And as a long self-employed businessman, I get it. We need to do it. The trick is, or the $1 million question is, what businesses? Good. That's a great question. There's been some proposals that have come before the town recently. Some of us thought it was a good fit, some of us didn't. As long as it goes to vote and we the people get to vote for it and it's approved. And if it was approved, fine, and if it wasn't approved, I could live with it. But what businesses? Other agribusinesses. I'm a dairy farmer by heart, and everything is changing, including the agriculture. But there are agriculture entities that are thriving and surviving. So being agriculture is our roots in Hardwick, and Gilbertville has mills. Those are our roots also. And convert the mills, of course. The marijuana industry is in town. It's here. Let's hope that the mill gets up and going and we start to get some revenue from that and others. So I would like to see more agriculture come to Hardwick.
Perfect, thank you very much. I
was born and raised on a farm too. We were a tiny farm, and I raised blueberries, which I sell on town common. I am pro agriculture, very much so. I'd love to see more farming coming into this area. I love what the Stillmans are doing, and I support them totally in everything. I'm a small business person. I've been self-employed my entire life. Anything I can do to promote small business, I am 100% behind. I also know that there are some small businesses that do very well in little towns and some small businesses that don't. Anybody who wants to come to me and say, hey, I got a great idea for a small business, come right to me, and I'm going to sit there and say, gee, is there something I can do to help you? And one or two people to sit there and put a business together, I think it's the greatest thing in the world, because that's how we all started out in America. Hardwick is a great place to do little teeny businesses that work great on the internet, and then we expand them and expand them and expand them. We don't have to have huge conglomerates coming into this town, but a whole bunch of little teeny tiny Hobart Village type businesses could do very, very well in this town.
All right, now we're going to open the floor to questions from our audience. So does anyone have any questions they would like to ask the planning board candidates? Come on, Hardwick, I know you have questions. Judy, go ahead.
Judy Collins from the West Park. I have been studying biodiversity and culture and silviculture and whatever the culture is that raises cattle, and how to restore soils and how to grow and to profit by a rejuvenating nature and pastures of mixed, diverse species. And I envision the farmers of Hardwick being incentivized. I don't know if this is a planning board function, but to incentivize our farmers here already working and making money for themselves and making us a farming community. I dream of seeing them incorporate these biodiverse measures that we're just learning about that will produce mega crops, and they could be organic and they could be prolific. And I know that can happen if we're given the direction and the incentive for our current farmers and land managers of all sorts. Even the highway department could be encouraged to plant local species along the roadways. And we should have policies as what to do when we lose an entire species of tree that threatens us. And we should learn about beavers and how they keep the water on our soil and so on. And if that's a planning board thing, could you, either one of you, speak to it?
I think it's more of a conservation thing, but I don't see why all boards of the town can't work together to get a game plan that we're all working towards this happening in this. I mean, we're a little town. We have, we have all these boards and we have advisory committees and whatever, and why can't we all work together? I mean, we're only 2,100 people. Come on, I mean, it's not like we have like thousands and thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of people that can't work together. And, recycling is an easy thing to do with, cow manure and horse manure and chicken manure and all of these things. And all these things are useful and they can be reused and reused. And we can all work together. We can have composting piles down at the recycle center if people want to bring it down. And anybody who wants some of my 3 and 5 year old composted horse manure, call me up. I got piles of it. I'll load it onto your truck from my tractor. And there's nothing inside of that thing. It's just black dirt. But this is the thing. It's like, why can't we all just work together to do this? I'm sure, the Stillmans have stuff too, and Kate, I think you've got stuff too that you want to get rid of. So why can't we all just work together in all of these boards?
Well, I'll second working together, because when good people work together, anything can happen. And we're good people. Do we work together? Not as much as we should be. But thank you, Judy, for all you do and all you've done. You're in some of my early conversations with you, you wanted to be a pioneering woman, and you are, by all means. And you and your family have been a big part of West Hardwick, and I thank that. But in the agriculture business, agritourism, ecotourism, agritainment is big. It's a big future and a big part of the future of agriculture, with many different branches. We say and joke that they're going to come to the farm, leave their money, and go home, and that's really what we want them to do. So we're trying to figure that out, and I think we will figure it out. We have to. And as far as the food goes, the best thing we could do right here tonight is 1/3 of this room call up and take a CSA with the local farmers in town. If everyone does that tonight, right now, we're going to help them farmers. When you help them farmers directly, you're going to get a good product, a great product, and you're going to help them to continue for the next year and the next generation.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Does anyone else have any questions for our board candidates?
Yes, I think that probably James Lock Marcino, I've lived here for 45 years. All the time that I've been here, probably the biggest issues in front of the planning board have come twice with the regional dump that's been proposed. And that's a big issue for the planning board to help resolve. And I'd like to know where you stand and why you stand in support or not for a project like that. Thank you.
I'm not in favor of a dump, okay? And if that means that half this room is gonna vote for me, so be it. I stood out on the corner of family land back, I don't know how many years ago, and counted cars. And I'll tell you why I'm not in favor of the dump, because I live on that aquifer. I live downstream from that dump. And I smelled that dump. I'm not supposedly in the loop of where that dump supposedly impacts, but I smelled it, I heard it, and my husband's got COPD. I have breathing problems that my doctor says, you don't have any problems, but I have breathing problems. I don't know where they come from, but I don't need that. And I don't need to have my water polluted. And I've got a whole house water filtration system that when we built our house down on the pond, we said, let's put it in, but I don't know what may or may not come through onto that aquifer. And I don't want to chance it. But I'll tell you one thing, okay? I grew up on a farm right next to your property, around the corner, all right? My mother died of cancer, my sister died of cancer. Is it a coincidence? Who knows? I don't know. But I also know that there's 3 other people that lived in that area that died of cancer. They all happen to be women. Is it the dump? I don't know. But do we take that chance? Do we take the chance that, there's pollutants in the water in the west part of Hardwick? That's an awful big chance to take. And I'm not willing to take it for me, any more for my family or any of your families. And I'm not willing to take it for Ware and all the way down to Chicopee to the Connecticut River and all the way into Connecticut. It's not worth it. All right? And it boils down to is they may have capped and they may have a liner underneath part of that dump, but part of that dump is not lined and it goes right into Muddy Brook. Okay? And every single liner that they have ever made for a dump leaks. And that's the facts. And in Casella's home runs, every liner leaks.
Thank you, Jim. Good question, fair question. I think everyone knows where I stand. I'm pro-business. I'm pro-business for every business. Hardwick Town Dump was there when I came to town. I was 20 or 21 years old when I bought my first property in Hardwick. And I'll be honest, Mr. Roach, David Roach, and Lemoyne's, and a lot of the people out in West Hardwick were very good to me. And got me to many meetings here. And back in the 80s, every meeting, every town meeting, and all town business was done right here, and or in this building. And here we are tonight, so it's kind of nice. And I love this building and I love history. But for the landfill, if the landfill wasn't there, honestly, I'd be the biggest one against it. But the landfill is there, let's face it. It was the town dump and now it's a landfill. It's a closed landfill. Full disclosure, I'm a subcontractor for Casella, actually for Hardwick Landfill Inc., which Casella owns. I plow and sand, and I have for 19 years at Hardwick Landfill. So that's my relationship with Casella. I sold them land 4 years ago, and they sold it back to me, actually. But I would rather work with Casella and negotiate with Casella than the state. And my roots are there, I'm there, I'll probably be there till the day I die. And I would rather work with Casella than the state of Massachusetts. Casella is one of the better ones in the industry. Personally, they've been good to me. They did what they said and said what they did. They are a good neighbor. As far as I know, there's no proposal before the town. They withdrew their proposal, the last proposal. And the way I understand it, if there's no appetite for the reopening of Hardwick landfill, then they're not coming back until there's an appetite. Or I think they said until the state changes laws or the state steps in. So my biggest fear, guys, the state steps in, then what do we do? I don't know. I wish it was never there, but it is there, we're gonna deal with it. Jim, did I answer your question? Okay.
Alex, anyone have any other questions? Yes.
Meg, hi. I guess my question is, can you explain what you think the procedure would be for the zoning review? I understand there was a public hearing for the changes that are coming forward, and now there will be a town meeting or a special meeting. Is that not an appropriate way to go about informing the public about zoning changes?
You're talking about the meeting, you're talking about the zoning meeting on the 24th?
Yes. Is that what you were referring to, Liz?
Yeah,
What would be the approach, what would you?
No, everything is done about here, that's not the issue. I just feel that, the comment that was made on the select board floor, that, because the select board asked if shouldn't it wait until the regular town meeting? And the comment was made that they wanted to do it at a special town meeting because less people show up. And that was, I didn't feel that that was the appropriate way to handle it, okay? And there was, nothing was done wrong, okay? I guess the situation is that we all have very busy lives, okay? And I'm as guilty as everybody else. Nobody sits on the Hardwick Town website every day and checks the agenda of any one of the committees in town because we don't have time, okay? And we can't read everybody's agenda, and we can't read to see exactly what is going on. And it's just, none of the committees are doing anything wrong. And they, every committee has 48 hours to post their agendas, and they do it within the 48 hours. It's just that all of our lives are very busy, and if we don't get it within that 48 hours, we miss it, okay? So, we miss things, and then we miss a hearing, and then it's like, then we get blindsided on things. And that's just our busy lives these days, okay? And then we say, oh, I didn't know about that, and we don't know about things, okay? So that's it, we don't know about things. Well, now we know about that there's a special town meeting on the 24th here, and they want to do some zoning changes, okay? And it's only the first of several meetings that they want to do, so everybody show up on the 24th, and I guess it's posted on the town website, all the changes that they want to do, so. All right, we're all informed, okay?
When I was first elected to the planning board 3 years ago, they had been working on rewriting and changing some of the zoning bylaws way before that. So it's been worked on for years now, years and years and years. I'm proud to be a part of that, to be honest. And a lot of work went into that, a lot of work. We did copy and paste some, there's no doubt about it. We borrowed from towns that we thought were in similar town of Warren's on top of it. They dealt with a lot of big issues with pertaining to solar. But we worked hard, the board worked hard. And it's been years and years. And anyone can come to any meeting at any time, you know that. And give suggestions, ideas, thoughts, and we've done that. We're at a point now where it's all coming together. There's nothing, we want everyone come to that meeting. We can change it, we can make amendments then, we can make amendments right up to it, and that night. And then at the actual town meeting. And that's just the history. The last one, maybe 2018, that was changed, that was done at a separate town meeting. So it's not like we're afraid of having too many people, that's not it. It's just how it was done. So we look forward to everyone coming and bringing their thoughts and ideas.
All right, any more questions for the planning board?
Can I ask another?
Of course.
Yeah, I'm concerned about the state as well, having been on the Board of Health and worked through the application of Casella to re-expand. And the answer ultimately does come down to the state, even though our Board of Health has a great deal of power. It is not the planning board and it's not zoning. And I was advised by the overall MAHAB, which is Massachusetts Health Board's, their lawyer, to ask the town offices to cease and desist any action on the Casella application, not even to accept it. I submitted handwritten note on the day the letter came in that they should not accept it because that's one way. Now, I'm looking to you to tell us how we can assert local power. And we have a lot of power. Thank goodness to Massachusetts laws. How can we take our power and not have outside the state or anyone else tell us what we have to put up with? You know, we are a delicious site for all that waste. And the answer is for people to stop consuming those plastic bottles and trying to, they're space occupying lesions. And so you've got to have space or you have to stop using it. But we have to, as a town, work closely together to make sure that what we don't want to happen to Hardwick, to our peace and quiet, we don't want light pollution, we don't want a lot of traffic, we want our good schools, and so on. How are we going to use our power that is constituted by our laws? And whichever two of you is cleverest, I hope you get in there and use the planning board. And whoever's going to talk about the Board of Health or the Select Board or the Conservation Commission, let's put Hardwick first. Because the feds have abandoned us.
All right, so we are going to actually move on and give the planning board candidates a rest. And we're going to get to the most exciting part of the night, which is the select board. We have 3 candidates running for 1 seat on the select board. One of them is Liz Myron, and we have Jeffrey Shaw, and we have Jeffrey Smith. So Liz has already introduced herself, so next up is Jeffrey Shaw. If you'd like to come on up here.
Good evening, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jeffrey Shaw, Jeff Shaw, and I am running for select board, not the planning board. I moved to Wheelwright in August of 1993 and have lived in Hardwick ever since. I bought my first house in Gilbertville before meeting my wife, Patty. We renovated the house that was built by my wife's grandfather in Wheelwright and have raised our son Fred there. He will be graduating from Quabbin Regional High School in June. During my time in Hardwick, I have become involved in the community. I have served on the historical and recycling commissions. I served 10 years on the planning board, 7 of those years as chairman. While representing Hardwick on the Central Massachusetts Regional Planning Commission, I was involved with the CMRPC Executive Committee representing the West Region. Outside of the town government, I was a board member of the East Quabbin Land Trust and served as treasurer for the Hardwick Community Fair Committee. I am currently the Wheelwright Water District Chairman and represent Trout Unlimited on the Ware River Watershed Advisory Committee, where I also serve as chairman. I want to continue my service to Hardwick as a member of the select board. I always try to be fair and unbiased in any of the roles I have ever held. I will listen to all sides of any issue before making a decision, but I will not embrace any plans that I think will jeopardize the rural and historic character of our small town. I believe I have the experience and the vision to address the issues that Hardwick faces while preserving all that we love about our town. I ask for your vote on May 3rd. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jeffrey Smith, and I'm running for the Hardwick Select Board. I believe that our town deserves dedicated and transparent leadership with a commitment to listen, to learn, and to act with integrity. My family and I have lived in town for 10 years, and I know that might not seem like very long to a lot of people here, but we were very excited to move here, and we do love it here very much. We feel very fortunate to call Hardwick our home. When we first arrived, the police was still in town. There was an ambulance service, and the fire department and highway department seemed like they were doing better than they are now. Today, our town is facing hard financial realities. At this moment, the town budget is unbalanced, and we're in the hole, and these problems did not arrive overnight. Many decisions, some small, some large, year after year, have brought us to where we are now. I don't think there are any easy solutions to the problems we face, and the fact is that whatever's done about them, it'll almost certainly have an outsized impact on the less fortunate in our community. I have friends who are retired on fixed incomes, who have lived their whole lives here, who are part of generations of family that have lived here. Friends who've had to leave because they just couldn't afford it anymore, and some who are thinking about that prospect in the near future. I think about them when I consider the impact of our town budget and the decisions made by our former town leaders. When I started trying to get information about what has gone on in the past with our town government, I found incomplete, unspecific, and entirely missing meeting minutes, agendas for many of our boards, committees, and commissions. These very basic tools of our government have been badly neglected, and they're necessary because hardworking people cannot often show up for a 3 o'clock Monday meeting. If elected, I'll ensure our select board meetings are well organized with detailed agendas and accurate minutes so everyone can stay informed and engaged. I'm here to serve, not maintain the status quo. I'm ready to get to work for you, and I'd be honored to earn your vote. Thank you.
All right, so select board candidates, we have one question that we'll be asking. Yep. Did you have another speech prepared for select board? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, come on, right. Sorry about that. I'm very impressed with all your speeches.
Grab that one.
I don't have to introduce myself again. I'm running for the select board because I care deeply about the town of Hardwick and the direction it's going. A few years ago, a member of the select board said that the board of selectmen was a part-time job because they have real real jobs, and they're too busy to deal with the day-to-day running of the town. This is wrong. If somebody can't give the job the attention it deserves, they don't deserve to be in that position. The select board has a real lack of access. There's no office hours, and the only time you can address the board is twice a month in their meetings. Some months, there's only even one meeting. The current board seems to have those meetings down to 1 hour, too. The administrator has denied citizens the request to be put on the agenda. And the current board sometimes even limits and denies citizens the right to speak at the select board meetings. Okay, the state of Massachusetts says that no one has the right to speak at a select board meeting unless the selectman says that they can. But this is America, and I'm sorry. In my opinion, that we have the right to speak. And if the select board says you can't speak to us, that I think is just totally wrong. If I'm elected to select board, I feel that the select board should have regular hours, that the citizens should be able to speak to the select board. We should not be censoring the citizens of the town of Hardwick. And if the citizens need to speak to us, they should be able to speak to the select board. I have some concerns about some contracts that have been signed that the entire board has not had total knowledge of prior to those contracts being signed. And that I feel that the select board should be accessible by phone or some sort of social media. They should be attending community events and letting people engage with them, contributing to maybe a town newsletter or hosting some sort of listening sessions or creating some sort of dialogue with the citizens so that people feel that they're represented by the selectmen, not just showing up once or twice a month in the 1 hour meeting. And if you're not on the agenda or you can't speak to whatever's on the agenda, that's the only access you have with the selectmen. Anything that you talk to the selectmen about, or if there's something on the agenda, you should be able to get proper feedback, and you should have any decisions with the select board clearly explained. And if for some reason the board cannot deal with something, the board should be explaining those things clearly to you and explaining why they can't deal with it. In other words, be transparent, explain everything, and tell the citizens why you can't do something if you can't do it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we'll move on to our question round now. So the 3 candidates for select board, you're welcome to come stand up here and answer the questions. So once you're all filed in, we'll start with you. All right, so the first question is, what are your top 3 priorities for Hardwick? Whoever would like to go first, go first.
Accessibility to the select board, number 1. Let's have some office hours. Let's let the citizens be able to talk to the select board and let the select board give feedback. Number 2, let's figure out some ways so we can get some real development in this town. Let's start that with the so-called abandoned town buildings. Let's get some development on those buildings, and let's bring some new, I guess business is the right way into town.
In my mind, one of the main issues is financial. We do have to face the finance deficit. You spoke to that, Jeff. And we do have to take a realistic look at the town's finances, for one. Another one is that I serve on the Central Mass Regional Planning Commission for, I believe, about 9 years. I know that people are upset that we regionalized our police department. We share our police department with the town of New Braintree. We have ambulance services coming from West Brookfield and Barry. But we really, we have to come to the realization that we're a small town. And combining our resources with those of our neighboring towns, which are also small towns facing the same problems, we can all do better. And that way we can gain the services that we need as a town without overburdening us financially. And then there is, and I know Liz, we did go before the select board as the historical commission about some of these our town's buildings. They do need to be used, but we also have to keep in mind that these buildings have historical characteristics that need to be preserved, and we have to be able to do that in a reasonable manner. Those are my brief ones. Jeff.
So, as I mentioned in my earlier talk there, my main thrust is getting our meeting agendas and our meeting minutes up to where they ought to be. There are an awful lot of gaps. And for people who work hard and can't come to these meetings, there's only one way you can find things out. And that's if these documents are well done and you can find out what's going on. The planning board, they never announced any vote in any agenda for any of these bylaws. You can go through all of the agendas. I've been downloading all of this. I'm a tech guy and I put it all into AI. I have it all summarized and I'm mining for this information and I'm having a very hard time finding it. So that's probably my #1 top priority. Financial matters are also huge. Like I mentioned, we're in the hole. We recently got hit with a big surprise about insurance for our town employees. We weren't paying enough, and now we're getting hit with a big bill. So I don't know what happened there, but I aim to find out. And like I said, I don't have all the answers, but I have not been in the government. I'm